Alrighty, folks. So today we're going to talk about how to create our practice model. So we went through the different tools in the sketch mode. Now we're going to go ahead and create our first model, and then using this model, we'll create our drawing template. But to get started, we have our viewing planes here, and we are going to start a plane or start a sketch on our top plane. So we are going to hide the front view, and we're going to hide the right view. And then I can go ahead and click top and go up to the top left and click sketch. You'll see that my sketch plane is now visible. And I can go ahead and just temporarily hide my top view since we are now in the sketch plane. And then the last thing I'm going to do to go ahead and get ourselves set up for the sketch is right click and hit view normal to sketch plane. So go ahead and flip everything around so we're looking at it from the correct point of view. Now, to get us started with this, we are going to start by creating a 2" by 2" rectangle using this origin as its center point, which means we need to adjust from our corner rectangle to our center point rectangle. So go ahead, click center point rectangle. We'll left click to place it right on the origin, right on the orange box there. And then we'll go ahead, drag it out, do another left click, and then I can type 2, enter, 2, enter. You can see we have our 2" by 2" box. Oops. And I'm going to go ahead and do a quick right click, zoom to fit, so that you guys can see this a little bit neater now. Now, there is one other thing that I would like to do before I finish my sketch, and that's go ahead and create a 1" diameter circle, again, using this origin as my center point. So I can go up to center point circle, left click it to highlight the tool, make sure that I'm getting this orange box constraint, click, click, and then type in 1, enter. Now you'll see that I have a 2" by 2" box or square, and I have a 1" diameter circle. And this is exactly what we're looking for in order to turn our first 2D sketch into a 3D model. So now that we have this all set up, we're going to go ahead and hit this green check mark to finish sketch number 1. Once I've finished sketch number 1, I like to go ahead and right click and hit isometric, and that'll bring my little sketch into a better viewpoint for extruding. So I'm going to zoom out just a hair, go ahead and drag this to the center. And then I can go ahead up top here and look at my model toolbar. So a bunch of tools up here. We know redo, undo, we know sketch, but we're going to use extrude. I have 2 basic shapes here. I have a circle and I have a square with a circle inside of it. I am looking to extrude the square and not the circle. So if I want to extrude just the square, I'll simply do a quick left click on the square and it will extrude up that square, but not extrude up the circle. In order to adjust the height of this, I can do it manually using this, or I can simply click and type in 0.5 and hit enter, and that's ultimately the height that we're going to be going for. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do, like change the direction or do a symmetric, but we are simply just going to extrude it up 0.5 of an inch and hit our green check mark. So basically this right here, this is what you're left with. You can see your nice little 1/2 inch height box, 2" by 2" with your 1" diameter circle in the center. Wonderful. You are now done with sketch number 1 and extrude number 1. Our next step is we are actually going to start a new sketch. So I mentioned these models are made up of multiple 2-dimensional sketches and 3-dimensional models. So in order to do this, I'm going to left click on the top face of my box here. I'm going to go ahead, left click on the top face. That is selecting this plane. And then if I click sketch, it will go ahead and create sketch number 2. As you can see, sketch number 2 right here. And that's sketch number 2 is being placed directly in line with my top view. go ahead and view normal to sketch plane. Oh, I actually don't want to do that. Go ahead and I'm sorry, right click, hit view normal to sketch plane, and that's going to go ahead and that's going to flip it all around so we're looking directly at it. Now for our next step here, I'm going to go ahead and we're back in our sketch toolbar. Going to go ahead and not use a center point rectangle. This time, I'm going to use a corner rectangle. And with that corner rectangle, I'm going to go into the top left-hand corner, and you see no matter which corner I'm in, I get this nice little constraint dot. So we're going to go ahead and use that dot. We'll click, we'll drag our rectangle out, and we are going to make this rectangle point half an inch by half an inch by half an inch. You can type in 0.5 by 0.5. It will create that nice little 0.5 by 0.5 rectangle. I'll go ahead and escape, use the escape key to get out of my tool, and then I will finish the sketch. So go ahead, click that green check mark to finish your sketch. And here is sketch number 2. If I hit isometric, it'll flip it all around, and then I'll zoom out a hair, and we can look at it from a better viewpoint. I am going to create my second extrusion. So now that I've done my second sketch, I can do my second extrusion. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my extrude button again. Once again, it wants to reference, do you want to extrude this or would you like to extrude this? In this case, we're going to extrude the little square. So we'll click that. It auto defaults to a 1-inch extrusion. That's a little bit too tall for us. So we'll go ahead and adjust this to 0.5. Enter, and it will subsequently adjust the size on your actual model. Again, we're not really going to mess around with these settings. I could change the direction. Come on. I could change the direction to remove and actually get rid of this, but I'm not worried about that right now. So let's go ahead, and I'm sorry, let's go ahead, go back to add, flip that back around. Hopefully you guys are at this point. Now that we have it at ½ inch, we're going to go ahead and hit our green check mark, and you can see we have our second extrusion in our model. This is what we're left with. I did a quick right click and isometric to get our viewpoint. I'll zoom out just a hair so you can see it better. And we're going to do a couple more steps here. The first step we're going to do is we are going to use our fillet tool. So if I left click fillet, once again, we can adjust the radius or the size, and we'll adjust the radius of this one to 1/4 inch or 0.25. We're going to put a fillet on 2 separate entities. We'll start with this top one right here. In order to create a fillet, simply click on the line that you would like to form it, or the edge that you would like to form it along. We'll click there. We'll click down here since we're going to make these both 0.25. We'll go ahead and hit OK, or your green check mark. This will create your fillet. Our next thing is a chamfer, and this is going to create kind of an angle over the edge. This one we're going to adjust to 0.125 or 1/8 of an inch, and we can go ahead and click on one of these top edges here, so right here, and that will connect to the rest of those edges and create this entire chamfer. Once again, doesn't matter. If I click here, it will create it across the entire thing. And I can go ahead and hit your green check mark. You are now left with your very first model. So congrats to you. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to personalize this model. So in order to personalize this model, I am going to go ahead and go over to where it says part number 1, and over here. If I right click part number 1, I am able to edit the appearance of my material or of my part. I can go ahead and I can adjust it to whatever color you so please. In fact, Mr. B is a big fan of purple, so we are going to make his purple. So I want everyone to go ahead into your parts and assign an appearance to it, and then change it to whatever color you like. You can even adjust it. You can even adjust it to be a little bit more specific. If you so please, you can actually click or go to the actual mixer as well. So you do have some options. Now that you have this up and you have the color changed, we are going to download a picture of this so you can submit it to Schoology for points. So what I want everyone to do is go ahead and click isometric. That should bring this model in. If you want to zoom out a hair, you're more than welcome to. We are going to go to the top left-hand corner to these 3 lines. We will left click and we are going to select the print option. Now we are going to download an image, but I should mention that you can see this box right here. And what we need to do is we need to zoom out, and our part needs to fit inside of this square. As long as it fits inside of this square, this is what your picture is going to look like. Go ahead and hit download image. And your image has been downloaded, and you are able to use this to upload to Schoology. That is all.